I never imagined a dog could change my life. To me, animals were just companions, background comfort for lonely souls. But I wasn't one of them. At least, that's what I thought. When my husband, Ethan, surprised me with a German Shepherd on my 32nd birthday, I smiled because that's what a wife is supposed to do. Smile. Pretend to like surprises. Pretend to be fine. Ethan worked abroad most of the year. Dubai, London, Singapore. I'd lost count of the cities. I had learned to live with his absence, though the silence had begun to feel like a second heartbeat inside the house. "His name's Rex," Ethan said that day, as the dog tilted his head up at me, eyes full of alert curiosity. "He'll keep you safe when I'm gone." Safe. The word lingered in the air longer than it should have. Cut to the sound of luggage wheels rolling across tiles. A door closing. Silence. Within 2 days, Ethan was gone again. And there I was, alone in a big, echoing house with a dog I didn't know how to love. At first, Rex kept his distance. He'd lie near the back door, eyes fixed on me as I went about my chores. No barking, no begging, no noise. Just silent watchfulness. Sometimes I caught him staring at the window late at night, ears twitching at sounds I couldn't hear. One evening, I walked past him and muttered, "You don't have to guard me all the time." He blinked once, slow as if to say, "That's what I'm here for." Camera slowly pans across the empty living room. Shadows stretch across the walls. The house was old, and it made sounds I couldn't explain. Floorboards groaning, doors sighing open by themselves, faint creaks that whispered through the hallway. But the nights were the worst. Every sound became sharper when Ethan wasn't home. The wind against the windows felt like fingers tapping, asking to be let in. One stormy night, lightning flashed, lighting up the corners of the house like a broken camera shutter. Rex sat near my bed, ears raised, eyes locked on the dark hallway. I whispered, "Do you hear that too?" He didn't move. Another sound, a thud, faint but real. I held my breath. Then nothing, just the storm. His eyes glint in the lightning flash. That night, I slept on the floor beside him. I didn't know why. Maybe because the silence had started to feel alive. Or maybe because his calm breathing was the only thing that reminded me I wasn't completely alone. Days passed. My routine adjusted. Mornings with coffee and Rex's quiet footsteps following me room to room. Evenings with his head resting near my feet as I read. He became part of the rhythm, the only sound in the stillness. Then, one afternoon, as I returned from the grocery store, I noticed something strange. A black sedan was parked across the street. Engine off, but the driver inside? Staring at my house, I froze on the porch. Keys cold in my hand. Rex stood beside me, hackles raised. A low growl rumbling deep in his chest. The driver turned his head slowly. Dark sunglasses, expression unreadable. Then started the engine and drove away. I shook it off. Probably nothing. But the next evening, the same car was there again. Tense music fades in. Slow drumbeat. When I tried to lock the back door that night, the key jammed. I twisted harder. It wouldn't budge. Panic started crawling up my spine. My breathing quickened. Then Rex moved. He nudged my leg, looked toward the kitchen drawer, and barked once, sharp, commanding. I frowned. "What?" he barked again, pawing the drawer handle. I opened it, and there, buried under old receipts and batteries, was a spare key I'd completely forgotten about. I stared at it, then at him. "How did you know that was there?" Rex wagged his tail once, almost smugly. I locked the door easily this time. The sound of the bolt clicking into place was oddly comforting. That night, I sat beside him, running my hand through his fur. His eyes lifted to mine. Warm, knowing, protective. Something had shifted. He wasn't just a dog anymore. He was a presence, a guardian. Camera pans to window, the black sedan parked again outside, engine idling under the rain. But I didn't see it. Not that night. And as the thunder rolled across the dark sky, Rex raised his head and stared toward the window. Muscles tensed, breath steady. He knew something I didn't. Something was coming. That night should have been forgotten. Just a small scare, a car parked in the dark, a jammed lock. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. Every morning since, I'd peek through the blinds. And every morning, that same black sedan was parked across the street. Engine off. No movement. Just there. Rex would notice before I did. His ears perking, body stiff, eyes locked on the window. Sometimes he growled under his breath, like he recognized a danger I couldn't see. I tried to convince myself it was coincidence. Maybe a neighbor's visitor. Maybe nothing. But deep down, my instincts whispered otherwise. Cut to the woman pouring coffee. Her hands tremble slightly as she glances at the window. The phone buzzed. Ethan's name flashed on the screen. "Hey," I said, forcing my voice steady. "How are you?" His tone was distant, distracted, background noise of an airport filling the line. "I'll be in Tokyo for 2 weeks. You'll be all right?" I hesitated. "Yes, I've got Rex," he chuckled faintly. "That dog's better company than I am. Maybe he was right." When the call ended, the house fell back into silence, except for the rhythmic sound of Rex's tail thumping the floor beside me. Music fades low, with faint ambient hum of wind. Later that day, I decided to take Rex for a walk. The air was cool. Fallen leaves scraped across the pavement. But as we turned the corner, I froze. The black sedan. Parked again. This time, closer. I could see the driver clearly now. A man in a dark jacket, mid-40s maybe, sharp eyes that followed as we walked past. My pulse quickened. Rex's leash tightened as he moved in front of me, blocking my path slightly. His body language was clear. Protective. I kept walking, pretending not to notice, but I felt the man's gaze burning on my back until we turned the corner. That night, I barely slept. Every sound made me flinch. The creak of the stairs, the hum of the fridge, even the whisper of wind against the glass. At some point, I must have drifted off, because the next thing I remember was Rex barking. Loud, sharp, urgent. I shot up. The digital clock blinked 2:47 a.m. "Rex?" He was standing near the window, growling low, his fur bristling. I crept closer, heart pounding. Through the thin slit in the curtains, I saw movement, a shadow near the gate. Faint, but real. Someone was out there. Before I could think, the security light outside flicked on. The figure froze. For a split second, I saw him, the same man from the sedan. His face pale under the light, eyes locked directly on mine. Then he ran. The camera jerks. Quick cut to Rex barking furiously, the woman fumbling with her phone, trembling hands. I called the police. They came 20 minutes later, searched the property, found nothing. "Could have been a trespasser, ma'am," one officer said. "Keep your doors locked." As if I ever didn't. When they left, I sat on the couch, still shaking. Rex climbed beside me, resting his head on my lap. His breathing was steady, calm, like he knew I needed that rhythm to hold on to. I buried my fingers in his fur, whispering, "Thank you." From that night onward, something in me changed too. I stopped ignoring the feeling that something was wrong. I started noticing details. The same car moving 2 streets over, the faint footprints near the back fence, the way the gate latch seemed out of place some mornings. I began walking the perimeter of the property every evening, with Rex beside me. He walked slightly ahead, ears pricked, scanning the darkness. Montage shot. Night patrols, flashlight beams, security locks. Rex pacing in silence. Then, one afternoon, I saw him again, the man, but this time, he wasn't lurking. He was standing across the street in broad daylight. Smiling, talking to my neighbor, I froze halfway down the porch steps. My neighbor waved cheerfully. "Oh, you haven't met yet. This is Daniel Hall. He just moved into the old house down the block." Daniel turned toward me. His smile was polite, too perfect. "Nice to finally meet you," he said. Rex growled, deep and low. I forced a smile. "Yes, nice to meet you too." But inside, every instinct screamed danger. Camera zooms in on Daniel's face. His expression flickers just enough to betray recognition. That night, I didn't sleep. Rex didn't either. He paced near the front door, growling occasionally at the slightest noise. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that smile, that fake, charming smile. Days passed. Daniel appeared everywhere. Morning jogs near my driveway, casual waves when I left for errands, friendly greetings that made my skin crawl. And then, one evening, as the sun dipped low and shadows stretched across the living room, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. A note, folded neatly under the door. In shaky handwriting, it said, "You look lonelier every day." Tense violin hum. The woman's hands tremble as she drops the paper. Rex barks sharply, pacing, sniffing near the door. My mind spun. Who could have put it there? When? How close had they been? I pressed my back against the wall, clutching Rex's collar. He barked again, teeth bared. Something in the darkness beyond that door was watching, and for the first time since Ethan left, I whispered out loud, "Rex, what if no one believes me?" Rex looked up at me, steady, fearless, unblinking, and in that silence, I realized maybe I didn't need anyone else to believe me, because he already did. Camera pans out. Rain begins to fall again outside. The black sedan reappears, headlights dim. Music fades into a slow, haunting piano theme. I don't know why I kept pretending I was safe. Maybe because fear feels lighter when you ignore it. But that night, fear came knocking, and it refused to be ignored. It was just after midnight. The power had flickered twice, the house heavy with silence. I was curled up on the couch, Rex lying near my feet, his ears twitching at every sound outside. Then, a noise. Soft, faint. The back door. Close up. Door handle turning slightly, a metallic creak blending with thunder. My breath hitched. Rex. I whispered. He was already standing. Muscles tense, tail stiff, eyes locked toward the hallway. His growl rolled low, like a warning from the earth itself. Lightning flashed, and for a split second, I saw it, a silhouette behind the frosted glass. Someone was outside. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands. No signal. The storm had knocked it out. The sound came again, this time louder. The doorknob turned fully, then stopped. I reached for the kitchen drawer. The only thing inside, a flashlight. My fingers trembled as I clicked it on. The beam sliced through the dark. That's when the back door burst open. Camera jerks violently. Door swings wide. Wind and rain flood in. The figure steps inside, drenched, face half covered by a hood. "Who are you?" I screamed, no answer. Just the shuffle of boots on tile. Then Rex lunged, a blur of fur and fury. He tackled the intruder before I could move. The sound of struggle filled the air. Growls, a yell, the crash of furniture. "Rex!" I could barely see, just flashes of chaos in the dim light. The man shoved Rex away, staggering toward me. I swung the flashlight, hitting his arm, but he caught my wrist. His face was inches from mine now, the same cold, watchful eyes from the car. "Please," I gasped. "Just leave." He smiled, slow, unsettling. "I told you. You look lonelier every day." Lightning strikes. The room flashes white. A roar cuts through it. Rex again, launching forward. He slammed into the man's leg, teeth sinking deep. The intruder screamed, stumbling backward, straight into the edge of the counter. I grabbed the nearest thing, a heavy vase, and threw it. It shattered, buying just enough time. "Rex, come on." We ran through the living room, toward the stairs. My heart pounded so hard it drowned out the storm. I slammed the bedroom door shut and pushed a dresser against it. Rex stood guard, panting, his fur soaked in rain and sweat. He wasn't just a dog in that moment. He was a wall between me and the nightmare outside. For minutes, maybe hours. Everything was quiet. Then, faintly, footsteps, slow, coming up the stairs. My breath froze. The doorknob rattled once, twice, then stopped. Rex pressed close to the door, teeth bared, growling low. I raised the flashlight again, hands shaking so badly the beam trembled. And then, silence. Total silence. Camera lingers on the woman's terrified face, sweat and tears mixing. Finally, I heard it. Sirens. Blue and red lights flashed through the rain-streaked window. The police had arrived. By the time they broke through the back door, the man was gone. Vanished into the storm. Only muddy footprints and broken glass remained. I collapsed to the floor, Rex beside me, trembling but alive. I held him so tightly he whimpered softly, licking my hand. "Good boy," I whispered through sobs. "You saved me." Fade to morning. The storm has passed. The living room is wrecked. Furniture overturned, glass scattered, the vase shattered on the floor. A detective walked through the scene, jotting notes. "We found tire tracks leading east," he said quietly. "We'll get him." But I knew better. Some ghosts don't vanish. They just change places. In the days that followed, the neighborhood was quiet again. The black sedan disappeared. The nights felt calmer. But something in me never fully healed, because every creak, every distant engine, every flicker of shadow still made me look twice. And Rex? He stayed closer than ever. If I moved from one room to another, he followed. If I cried, he'd rest his head on my knees, like he remembered too. Camera pans to Rex lying peacefully at her feet, sun streaming through the curtains. Weeks later, Ethan finally came home. He stood in the doorway, staring at the damage, the new locks, the security cameras. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. I nodded. Thanks to him. He looked down at Rex in the quiet, loyal shadow who had saved his wife's life. That night, as the house finally settled into stillness, I lay awake watching Rex sleep beside my bed. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel alone. Soft piano music rises. Camera slowly zooms out, from the peaceful bedroom to the window, where moonlight glows faintly on rain-soaked glass. But then, just before the screen fades to black, the camera catches one last image outside. A black sedan, parked far down the street. Its headlights flick on for just a second, and then off again.